Yet another generic book haul video. Now, why is this one more special than other booktubers? Because I don't have access to English libraries and bookstores necessarily in the same extent as most other channels here. I do live in a non-English speaking country, so I do have to go out of my way to find these books, but I got some really good picks. I got some lucky ones, and maybe this will give you some idea on what type of books you could find abroad. So let's start with the first. The Angel's Game by Carlos Rizafo. This is a beautiful book. If you're a bookworm or if you're even a writer, I think this is like the perfect book for you because it toes the line between those two things. The protagonist is a writer himself. He was struggling most of his life. Now he's finally starting to see some success, and there's like strange things that are happening all around him. I mean, this book is amazing. I can't put it down, and I just want to fly through the whole thing. I'm already halfway through. I do know that this is the second book in a series, but being the dummy that I am, I started reading it, but I was just, I went online, I checked. It turns out it's okay. You can read the second book without reading the first, but if you want to read the third book, you have to go back and read the first. So I'll fix that up. After this book, I'm reading the first one, Shadow of the Wind, which is a very popular book I heard. Looking forward to reading that one. Yeah. And most books have spent a lot of time on their marketing, on their packs. This one is trying to sell you with one tiny paragraph, and I prefer this approach much more than what other people do. So this one is A Knight of Seven Kingdoms by George R.R. Martin. Yes, the guy who wrote Game of Thrones. These are a collection of short stories. I think they were all put together here in this beautiful edition. This book has one of the most just beautiful hand-drawn art, gorgeous, very nice edition. The cover is okay, not the biggest fan of the cover, but what's special about this book is its back. And it says, Dunk stopped in the stable door and laughed. I have no need for a squire, he said. Every knight needs a squire, the boy said. You look as though you need one more than most. I love that. That was so much fun. Like, just that sentence alone explains to you the chemistry between this young boy and then this knight of sorts. I think it's called the Hedge Knight. And I've already been spoiled on who the true identity of the boy is, but it's okay. I'm looking forward to reading this one. We'll get to see what happens. Next, we have another classic. So, as you all know, and as I have not shut up about it yet, which is I'm a big fan of the Redwall series. And not because I read them as a kid, because I read them as an adult and I just fell in love with it. So I went to the Redwall subreddit, as the Slavs say, and I asked what other books are similar to Redwall and give you that same vibe. So I got two recommendations, Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim, which I finished and completed. I loved it. And then there was this one called Watership Down. So this is about a bunch of rabbits in the English Highlands, I don't know where, set in the England's Downs. I don't know where that is. Looking forward. So basically what happens is there's some sort of disturbance and the rabbits have to flee as their home is getting destroyed. Maybe it's humans, I don't know yet. Looking forward to it. It's a very cutesy cover. I'm looking forward for this one. Now this one, I'm not looking forward to. And I'm not looking forward to because I feel like I got scammed. I ordered this one online, okay? And look, the cover is beautiful. Side, beautiful, back, whatever. But this is not the edition I ordered. Not only is it not the edition I ordered, this has horrible paper quality, like garbage. Like this, I'm sorry, this is really bad. These are one of these papers that are like so white they hurt your eye and they feel like they're like copy machine paper. That's exactly what this feels like. It's pretty bad. It has a nice it's not laminated, but it has that like a nice smooth feeling. But I don't want that from a book. I want that from, I don't know, a brochure or something. Yeah, this is not it. It's okay, I'm gonna try to get through it. So the story is about an Englishman who's been stranded somewhere in Japan, and he's been plucked out of his world and then placed into society he knows nothing about, a language he knows nothing about, and now he has to learn and survive. And I found that to be a pretty interesting premise. That premise appeals to me because I do have personal experiences that connect to that. So I'm looking forward to checking, well, not the edition, the content of the book. I'm looking forward for that. And then we have The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. So 2014, 15, I think even 16, I was working at Virgin Megastore, which is like a big, we call it like back in Lebanon, I used to work there. We used to call it like a multimedia chain, meaning they sell everything basically. And there was a book section. I was responsible for the book section. I worked at a bunch of those. Even as a manager, and I used to order books sometimes too. And there was a moment in 2014, I think, where we got a giant like box full of Donna Tartt books. I had never heard of this writer before, so I was like, who's this? I'm very interested, because her books were selling like peanuts. They were selling really fast. And it won a bunch of awards. Well, most importantly, the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction in 2014. YouTuber I really enjoy, named Brian Lee Durfee. He said like Donna Tartt is his literary crush or something. So I was like, that's high praise for this writer. And I haven't read much female writers. I don't know why necessarily. I mean, but it just seems like the things I'm interested in are very boyish in nature, I guess. That's why I haven't picked up many female authors, but I do want to change that slowly. I want to see, different perspectives and different stories and different worlds. Looking forward to this. The next one is that booktuber that I mentioned previously, Brian Lee Durfee, who has a great channel. I really enjoy his stuff. He loves this book, The Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. It's a hard last name to spell. And this is like a Western. So when I was looking at the reviews online and stuff, and people were telling me this is kind of like if The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson was a Western, right? So maybe not to that scale, much less, but it does feel almost like epic fantasy, is what I saw some people describing this to be. This is a chunky boy. This is a beautiful edition, by the way. This is a gorgeous edition. The lettering, it shines when the light moves. Nice sandpaper type cover, which I really like, and that paper quality is just perfect. Font size is decent. This is a beautiful book. I'm looking forward to read this, especially that I've never read any Western before, so this is going to be interesting. So this one is called 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, and I have read one of his other books called A Melancholy of Horrors, I think, which was a disturbing book. I actually don't recommend anybody to read that book, even though he's a great writer, and I really enjoyed reading the process of that book because his writing is great, but the subject matter is disturbing. So this one follows the story of 8 generations of this family, and that's an interesting premise. I think I've only heard of Ken Follett trying that out. Who else? Did Leo Tolstoy try that out too? I don't remember, but I cannot express to you how many people I met throughout my life that have hailed this book as an absolute, like, their favorite book of all time. Many. And then there's another booktuber I really enjoy, named Emma. I love her channel. She's awesome, and she I think she's read this book an insane amount of times, and that hypes me up. I want to read this. I want to get into it, and let's see what happens. So the last book that I ordered online, but it has yet to arrive. It's called Modern Divination by Isabel Agajanian. And so I am not a YA reader. I actually tend to genuinely not enjoy myself when I read YA books. But I've been trying my best, because I eventually want to write a book. I'm trying my best to understand what is in YA that appeals to that audience. So I decided to order a YA book, and this one was randomly recommended to me on like Amazon. And the main reason why I actually picked it up, to be fully biased, is that she's an Armenian writer, and I'm Armenian, and I'm trying to read more of, you know, Armenian authors' work in English. So that definitely piqued my interest, and it has a beautiful cover. By the way, look at this cover. I mean, the illustration is gorgeous. And I was like, you know what, let me support another Armenian, and ordered this book online. It's going to be here in a couple of days, so looking forward to that too. If you've stayed this long, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you all have a great day. Bye bye.